Welcome to Magny-Cours, where two Seats occupy the front row, with BMW having dominated this circuit for the last 3 years, winning every FIA touring car race here. But BMW driver, who's won 4 out of the last 6, Jörg Müller, starts without the disadvantage of ballast and must be a favourite here. BMW are smarting though. At Monza in the last race, not a single driver finished in the top 10. But this is a BMW circuit. But don't say that to the Seat drivers on the front row, Tarquini and Rydell, because they have those positions. Only in the first 5 will we find Jörg Müller, a BMW, with 4 Seats in the top 5 qualifying places. Alongside me, David Leslie, my name's Tony Delahunty, and we'll keep you right in touch with all the thrills and spills of what could be a very exciting BMW Seat, and if Alfa Romeo can get their act together, they could get in the frame, along with Chevrolet as well. But I think, David, you see this as very much BMW versus Seat from the beginning.
Yes, certainly. I think at the beginning, all those cars at the front, and you've got to go back to the 6th row before you find something else, and that's Chevrolet. Alfa Romeo having a really terrible weekend here so far. So it's all either a Seat or BMWs at the front of the grid. The Seats are in yellow, BMWs generally white, with the various colours of the nationalities of the drivers striped along the side of the car. That's Alex Zanardi with the Italian flag along the side of the car, so you can see that. And there's the blue flag of the Chevrolet teams supporting their drivers.
Well, we're going to start a new sequence now. It's called Ups and Downs. For each event, we present who are up and who are down from the previous events. So here's the ups and downs of Monza. Oh, very much the man of the Monza weekend was Yvan Müller. The Frenchman, newcomer in the championship, ended twice in 2nd position and is the leader of the championship, driving his Seat. Great performance from Augusto Farfus. He's up 2 by winning round 2 in Monza. The Brazilian demonstrated that the Alfa Romeo is still a winning car on certain kinds of tracks. Up also, well, up and down. Andy Priaulx, world champion in 2005, started the season perfectly, pole position and victory in round 1, but a crash in round 2 prevented him from leading the championship. Very much down was Jörg Müller. The German driver had a mechanical problem in round 1 and was pushed out spinning by Stefano Dast in round 2. No points in the championship. Bad start. Down to Rickard Rydell. Not a good week. Only 3 points scored, crashed out by Huff in round 2. Down also Gianni Morbidelli. Difficult start. Well, we're just waiting for the green flag lap. The race, well, coincidentally, just about to get underway. An all Seat front row. Gabriele Tarquini carrying 30 kilos, quite remarkable really. One of the veterans sporting a new young son, Matteo, who says he wants to dedicate the race victory to. Well, we'll see. One or two people like Jörg Müller may want to have a say about that, but an all Seat front row. Rickard Rydell, put the 2 ages together, it comes to 84, average of 42, a lot of experience on that front row. But Jörg Müller is a man who can put it about a bit. Jordi Genie with the Seat on the 2nd row. That is the German driver turreting up there, with Dirk Müller, who also carries 10k. Top of the independents, Tom Coronel with the very much orange car. The Netherlands driver. Zanardi is up there as well, going back a bit further down the grid. That's Yvan Müller leading the championship, 2 second places at Monza. But, you know, I was saying before, David, you know, not one BMW in the top 10 of the 2nd race over there. They must be wanting to put matters right here.
Yes, very much so. It wasn't a good race for them at all. They all had accident damage, or, well, in fact, they all had accident damage, to be perfectly honest, not any mechanical problems that I've seen. But that's obviously something they want to put behind them. This is a very fast circuit like Monza, quite flowing circuit, so we'll have to see what happens in the first race. The first race always tends to be a little bit more gentle than the second race, because you only have 15-minute break between the two races to prepare the cars and get them back out onto the circuit. So if you do a lot of damage in race 1, you're never going to make the race in race 2. You need to try and score points in both races. So nice gentle first race, then it's out usually in race 2 that they all sort of take the brain out, throw it away and run into each other.
I've never heard the expression of sort of nice and gentle in touring cars before, but never mind.
It's as gentle as you can get compared to race 2.
A gentleman's race.
I wouldn't say they're always gentlemen, but certainly they're always racing. But there you can see at the front, those 4 Seats, those yellow cars there, and that one BMW right in the middle, and that's Jörg Müller.
BMWs start very quickly. They're very quick to get away from the grid. Is that going to be a problem for the 2 Seats, or can they sort of team box him and keep him out? If
you look, when you line up on the grid, you'll see they're not actually 2 by 2. It's a staggered grid, so it'll be quite difficult to try and keep Jörg back. And the BMW rear-wheel drive does make very good starts. That's something that does help them a lot in their races, because once you're in front, it's very difficult to try and get past, and that's a big plus for the rear-wheel drive car.
Current world champion, he's British, his name's Andy Prio, he starts 9th. Now what can he do? He's carrying a fair amount of weight, 45 kilos.
What he wants to do is he wants to just score points, basically. He's got his championship head on now after the first race, and he knows he needs to go out there, no accidents, no damage, no mechanical problems. He knows he needs to score points, and that's what he wants to do.
Yes, Ivan Müller we're on board with 2 second places, gets him right top of the shop. 16 points so far in the championship for the leader of the championship, but with it, you know, you love to carry the weight for the points, but the weight itself, 65 kilos he has to carry. 2 very, very, very fast chicanes here, and some of the touring car drivers were saying the fastest chicanes that they've come across anywhere in the world. So Tarquini on the front row, Seat. From Seat, Ricard Rydell had a win last year. Would very much like to get one. Now look at that white car in there. The king of Magny-Cours there, putting that title to him. 4 wins in the last 3 years. There's the green flag. David Leslie's eyes are on those lights. So are mine. And we're going to get underway with red across. It clears away, and what are we going to see? Are we going to see the dive through the middle? Yes, it's straight the way there. There's a little BMW coming up through the first corner, and Jörg Müller had it, and we've got to see a BMW sweeping through, and Dirk Müller into second place. So first and second place, the 2 BMWs. That was an astonishingly quick start. David?
It was exactly what BMW wanted. It was exactly what Seat had feared, but Seat will not give up. They will be hounding the back of those cars for the whole 12-lap race.
And there's another BMW in the frame and a BMW in the gravel as well, but let's concentrate on the front for the minute. There's a gaggle of 4 of those Seats there, and they must be in their own way saying, my goodness, that was a start. We should have done better from that, but really there's a couple of BMW just behind the box there, but we're again now on board with the current champion. He's a little bit farther back down the field at the moment for us to concentrate on, but Jörg Müller, well, he's had 4 victories in the last 3 seasons here. BMW have had 6. Dirk Müller's had a victory here, and of course the current world champion Andy Prio has had a BMW victory as well. But what can the Seats do about it? Because at the moment Jörg Müller is getting away, and could team thinking come in here?
The team, no. At this point of the championship, everybody's out for themselves to score as many points as possible and try and get the win. So the only team's thinking is inter-team. It's not a case of individual drivers trying to help other drivers.
So there couldn't be a case of Dirk Müller saying, OK, I'm going to hold these guys up, you get away.
Not at this point of the season, because there's lots of points available. It's very difficult to score points in this championship, and everyone has to go for whatever points he can possibly get.
But the fact of the matter does exist that Dirk Müller is a buffer in between the 2. It's between those 4 Seats, and Jörg Müller, who knows this circuit and likes it so well, is getting away.
He is getting away, but right behind the second BMW is Dirk's car, and then there's the Seats now. They've made up for that poor start. They're right on the tail trying to go through there. Now we see Tom Cornell moving up a place, and he's moving just ahead of Luca Rangoni with the privateer BMW there.
So let me tell you how it stands at the moment. Jörg Müller in first place. BMW from Dirk Muller, BMW. Then Ricard Rydell, Seat. Tarquini, Seat. Genet, Seat. Terting, Seat. And then Andy Prio has moved up 2 places already. He's now up into 7th place. So the race panning out this way. Jörg Müller made a cracking start in between the 2 Seats there and away. And we're looking back now. 2 of the 16 laps it's showing on the screen. There are information coming through whether it was a 12-lap race, but we'll keep you right up to date. So make no mistake, as things change, we'll notify you as well. Looking at the Chevrolets all fairly close together. The Alfa Romeos, a couple of them running fairly close together as well. And we are now looking at Jörg Müller. We're looking at Dirk Muller, we're looking at Ricard Rydell, and there's Robert Huff. Huff at the moment, I'm just looking, he's way back, he's in 13th place, is Robert Huff, the Chevrolet driver. And again, there's Muller, Rydell. Now the gap is, as we can see on the screen there, 1.28, then 1.6 for the gap to Rydell. And the car coming back very much down there, the inside there, just manages, I can tell you off screen, to hold it onto the circuit. But holding on to the lead, it's still for the moment Jörg Müller, and he knows this circuit very well indeed. I think success, a feeling of success regularly on a circuit, definitely is bound to build great confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, he has a lot of confidence in this circuit. He's done very well here in the past, and he comes knowing that he can drive the circuit well, knowing he's got a very good car to be able to go out there and win this race. And now he's got a buffer, as you said, with his teammates sitting behind. But here we see a restart. There's the lights, out to go, there's the start. Now you can see that BMW just takes off through between, and the other BMW goes with it. And even Andy Prio, you can see, was faster starting than the guys in front of him. And those BMWs into that first corner first. They do just rocket off that start line.
But Dirk Muller from 6th to 2nd, I mean, that's fantastic start work.
It is absolutely phenomenal. But there you see from an onboard shot, the 2 Seats, yes, they were closing to try and stop that from happening, but it was too late. He was gone through there and he was disappearing. But now we see Rydell right behind Dirk Muller, giving him a hard time. Behind that is Tarquini. And Ricard Rydell, he was the first man to win for Seat last year. And there's some yellow flags being waved at that point. We're not sure why. I can't see who's gone off or where they've gone, but we can see the truck in the background making its way to that corner. And
I can tell you also that maybe it's the pressure from Rydell, but Dirk Muller is certainly responding to that pressure, and his namesake Jörg Müller, he's actually just hauling just a little bit in. There's only about a couple of hundredths of a second there in the gap between the 2 of them. It's fairly consistent, and ironically not quite as consistent in all different parts of the circuit, so there may be a slightly speed differential between the 2. Remember that Dirk Muller is carrying 10 kilos, not an awful lot of difference between the 2. Tarquini, who's in that bunch, is now in 4th place. Tarquini carrying 30 kilos of weight, but let's concentrate. Look at those seats all in there together, all 4 of them. There's Tom Coronel coming through also, and one of the Seats a little further back is that one of Ivan Müller, the championship leader. But we're looking at the first of the Chevrolets at the moment. In fact, there's 2 of the Chevrolets, just one ahead of another with a bit of a sandwich in between. But I can tell you just as I speak at the moment that the time gap has gone down. It's only 7/10 of a second. You can see the 2 BMWs joined up now. It's Jörg Müller from Dirk Muller, 0.733. And it looks almost as if Dirk Muller is about to mount his own challenge on the man who's 4 times won at this circuit.
Now you can see the onboard pictures from Dirk following his teammate come out of the hairpin towards the really fast chicane here.
So on board for a moment we were, but if you were on board now, you'll be looking at a very real fight indeed, if you're either looking in the mirrors or looking through the screen of either of those BMWs, because it's Jörg Müller with Dirk Muller now certainly close enough to mount the challenge. And Dirk Muller, I suppose if you're the car in 3rd place now, what's your mindset while you're watching these 2 getting close together? Just keep a near enough station to them and see what happens?
Just to try and get right onto the back of that 2nd place car. If I'm Ricard Rydell, I don't want to be a couple of car lengths back like he is at the moment. I'd want to be right on his tail, as close to him as I can possibly get. So if anybody makes a mistake, they can get away. But look at this. This is a bit of a Chevrolet sandwich here. You can see they've got Larini in front, and then you've got Ivan Muller with a Seat, and then Robert Huff right behind, and Alan Menu behind that. So Chevrolet must be very pleased with their performance this weekend, because the cars really are going very well, and they're right up there with the championship leader as well.
Well, lap 3's completed now. We're on to lap 4. Well, you don't even need to be told it's only split tenths of a second that now have these two cars one from the other, that it's still Jörg Müller from Dirk Müller. Dirk, who started, if you've just joined us, where have you been? Well, I can tell you where they've been. They've been very quick indeed. First, Jörg Müller came through the second row. He split the two on that front row, the two Seats, Tarquini and Rydell, and went right into the lead. But at the same time, Dirk Müller, banzai attack on that first corner, came from 6th into 2nd place. So it's been BMW. At first it looked like Jörg Müller would get away, but he hasn't done so. Now Dirk Müller very much on his case, and David said to us before, he thinks that at this stage of the season no team orders or anything like that. Of course, the worst thing that could happen here, the BMWs after Monza, is these two took each other off.
I think that'd be very difficult for them, because they're teammates, and I'm sure Charlie Lamb in charge of that team would get really upset with them should they do something silly like take each other off.
Oh, and there's your Chevrolet battle again. No quarter being given some way back, and you can see the amendment on our screen. Our director working at extreme pace there has just shown that it's we're through 5 of the 12 laps that David Leslie was saying a little bit earlier on was the definite length of the race. But these two are getting a little bit away. I mean, it's only fractionally away as we climb aboard again with a man who maybe just at any moment can have a look, and we may enjoy through our directors the opportunity of seeing that look again a little bit later. But at the moment, still Jörg Müller from Dirk Müller, and there we are. That's the Chevrolets having their own particular battle. Robert Huff is the back marker of those three, and there is Dirk Müller. Just ahead of him still Jörg Müller again, and keeping that watching brief, a very aggressive watching brief, is Ricard Rydell. Let's complete the top 6, then Tarquini, then Genet, then Terting. James Thompson up to 7th. He's got past Andy Prio now. So looking at that leaderboard, in the top 8 there are 5 Seats in the top 8, but the important thing for BMW is they have 1st and 2nd, and they have 8th. 1st and 2nd and 8th, and the other British driver up there then is Prio, and looking at Thompson, so we got 2 there inside the top 8. Robert Huff some further way back, but these two are very close together indeed now.
Yes, they're really chasing each other.
0.4 of a second.
It depends on which part of the circuit you measure it. Sometimes it looks a little bit less than 0.4 of a second. They really are nose to tail. Rick and Rydell just trying to hang on to the back of them. The others not quite keeping up. There you see Andy Prio just going through the picture with his BMW right behind James Thompson. Of course, they're 7th and 8th at the moment now. Once that comes to the second race, the first 8 are reversed on the grid. So it means 7th and 8th become 1st and 2nd. So Andy Prio would start on pole and James Thompson would start beside him. So it'll be an old British front row should they stay in this position through to the end of the 12 laps.
I can tell you at the moment, of course, that Dirk Müller is lying in 7th place in the championship. He's got 5 points. It's a sort of 7th equal place with Alessandro Balzan, but he, of course, is the independent. We'll have a quick look there. I think it'll be Coronel, will it not? Tom Coronel, who is the leader of the independents, with the Seat Toledo from Luca Rangoni in there also. Jump over these two, and a little move to one side. What are we going to see here? Are we going to see a move? No, it's not going to make any difference, and that, of course, will bring Ricard Rydell as they battle. It's going to bring Rydell even closer, and Rydell himself may be able to ask the BMW some Seat questions very soon now. And there is Andy Prio again. He currently lying in 8th place. Thompson ahead of him. And back we are with Jörg Müller and Dirk Müller. 7 of 12 laps completed, and Rydell still there. All 5. In fact, there's 5 Seats in there. Although right at this moment, somebody's trying to change that, and that's Andy Prio to try and get in amongst them as well.
He is. He desperately wants to get as many points as possible.
Because
he really is trying
the
hard.
position he's in at the moment, he would start, if he finished there, he'd start in pole for the next race, carrying, what, 45 kilos of weight, but Andy Priaulx could be up there. In a way, does it get into that sort of thinking process too in here? You know, 8th might be better than 4th or 5th for the start in the second race?
Well, it's a case of 8th is better than 9th, really. That's the sort of mentality they have, and they really want to be in that top 8 so they can be part of that reverse grid rather than being outside of it. So Andy'd be quite happy with his 7th or 8th at the moment. It wouldn't matter which to him because he'd be on the front row beside the Seat.
Now Jörg Müller at the moment, experienced, mind you, both of these Müllers are very, very experienced drivers. There's two different mindsets, David Leslie, between these two at the moment, with just 4 laps remaining. Rick Rydell with his own mindset just behind them. But in the position at the moment, which would you prefer to be, the leader?
You always prefer to be in the lead, but this is a real battle for the lead, because Dirk Müller wants to get past Jörg Müller. You've seen now, twice as they've arrived down at the Adelaide hairpin, he's tried to go around him, he's tried to get past him, he's tried to go around the outside. Now, he's obviously, if he's going to overtake him, he needs to make sure it's a very safe manoeuvre. The last thing you want to do is have these two have an accident, and then for Rydell and Tarquini just to nip through and take the lead away from them.
Well, if he had an accident, you've got Seat. We've got 5 of them, one after the other.
Through. But there's Rydell now, who really is stuck to the back of Dirk Müller. Dirk knows he's a little bit quicker than what Jörg is, but unfortunately, unless you get a nice clean pass, there's not a lot he can do about it. He's just got to really sit there, try and pick his time. And he's had a couple of good looks down towards the hairpin, the Adelaide hairpin, and that really is the best of the overtaking places. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of overtaking places around this circuit, but when cars are so closely matched like these cars are, because first two are teammates with exactly the same cars, but right behind them there's the 4 Seats, and then further back you got James Thompson and Andy Priaulx together. And as I said, if these guys make any sort of mistake at all, then one of the cars behind will be straight through, if not more.
This is pressure racing, isn't it? At its very, very best. You can see them looking from the pit road at it as well. We'll have 9 laps completed very, very shortly, and we'll just have the last quarter of this race. But it's going to be a hard quarter, and no quarter either, because Dirk Müller, he's won on this circuit. Jörg Müller's won 4 times, well, 5 actually, but 3 times in the last, 4 times in the last 3 seasons. You can see how small the gap is. The visual gap is, well, maybe it looks even smaller than that. Tom Coronel still the leader of the independents, as we might have expected. But Jörg Müller, well, you could say he was the favourite. Dirk Müller is actually carrying 10 kilos more weight. David?
Look at the defensive moving by Jörg Müller. He's having to defend against his teammate. He wants to win this race. He wants to win it more than his teammate, so he's doing everything possible to try and keep his teammate back, and all that defensive driving is allowing these Seats to catch him. We know Rydell's right on their bumper, but it will be allowing Tarquini as well to catch right up. Rydell
not getting quite close enough yet to have his own go, but I mean, his own go could really put the cat amongst the pigeons, couldn't it, if he gets in a position to be able to do that. And while these two are holding each other up, Rydell maybe has a little bit more in the bottle to be able to go.
That's right. If Dirk makes a move and it doesn't work, then Rydell will be there ready to take the place away from him, and all of a sudden you could see a Seat split in these two works BMWs.
You're watching the World Touring Car Championship. David Leslie, a man who's been in this situation many, many times. My name's Tony Delahunty. We're going to keep you right up to date with this. We've got another race of the same cars where they reverse the grid, but at the moment you can see just how hard they battle in this one, with the top 6, Jörg Müller, from Dirk Müller, from Rickard Rydell, and that is very close indeed to looking like it could be a change. Oh, and he almost went wide there, and Rydell might have had a look also. So this is really 10-10 stuff.
Yeah, he just turned in a bit too early, caught that curb really hard and bounced the car across, and it was only the really good suspension they've got on these BMWs that sort of kept him on there.
So that's a heart-beating, breathe again moment for him, isn't it?
Without doubt, that definitely was. That really was. It wasn't what he wanted to do, and here you see what happened. What set the whole thing off was that Dirk had a good run out, and he was coming down the hill there. He thought he could do something with it, pulled in behind, but Jörg just got a little bit too excited and turned in too early, and that little bit of turning in too early just hit the curb.
So we've got Dirk Müller with the advantage now with just 2 laps to go. But can Jörg Müller fight it back? We'll see now, because it certainly is going to be right down to the flag here. Jörg Müller wanting the victory, Dirk Müller wanting the victory. Dirk Müller now having got through from 6th on the grid. He came through from that position into 2nd place after Jörg Müller had come through from 3rd, but it's the Dirk Müller variety that's going through at the moment. And I don't know if Jörg Müller can do very much about this now, because he could have snapping at his heels, as he does Rickard Rydell very shortly indeed. But it isn't over yet. Right, Jörg Müller, how do you get back?
You just can't give up. You just got to keep trying and trying. And he knows his teammate was like really on his bum. He touched him a couple of times and was trying to get through, so he knows it's going to be very difficult indeed to come back. But he'll try. He'll give it his everything to make sure he gets there. And certainly look at that. You see, he made a mistake there, did Dirk, having just got through. Already he made a mistake at that right-hand corner and right on his tail. And with a possibility of overtaking manoeuvre, Jörg is straight back there.
Well, Jörg is back there. Now where can he make his move? He got closer again, right up with him again also. I can tell you Rydell was benefiting again, just a little bit from that then when the two of them came close together. That pulled Rydell even closer still. This is going to go right to the wire. Penultimate lap then. And it's BMW from 5 Seats in succession. Thompson the last of the Seats before we have Andy Prio. And it's still, you can see at the top of the screen there, Tarquini in 4th place, Genet in 5th, Terting in 6th, but all eyes on the circuit between the battle, perhaps mainly between these two, but also conscious of Rickard Rydell, who'll be very conscious himself that if either of these two make a slip, he just might be able to nip in and get a victory. And Rydell certainly wants to do that as soon as he possibly can. But this is Dirk Müller. It was, I think last year he had a victory. I think that was in the first of the 2 races here. We'll check on that just a little bit later on. But there's Andy Prio looking for a way round James Thompson. There isn't one there, Andy, James is saying. And at the front, there isn't a way through for Jörg Müller at the moment. There's Dirk Müller in the lead. And there, the gaggle of Seats, all thirsty to try and get the victory again that saw them go top of the Manufacturers' Championship table after that really dreadful result of not a single BMW in the top 10 in the second race. But there's 2 in the top 2 here, and that's where it matters. And BMW answering back on the circuit where they've dominated so much over the last 3 seasons. And it's Dirk Müller from Jörg Müller. Dirk carrying that extra little bit of weight there, just 10 kilos extra of weight, and not looking if he's going to be able to find on the last lap, as they get to the last lap, the opportunity of being able to get through. But anything can happen, and as we've been saying earlier, it can happen right down to the last corner. So where will Jörg Müller make his mid? And looking as we come through that very fast chicane again, they can rock and roll through that one onto the other side. The suspension handling it very well indeed, right down the start and finish straight. And it's still Dirk Müller from Jörg Müller, last lap. And the 2 now away a little bit from Rickard Rydell, which as far as Jörg Müller is concerned, maybe will allow him, if he can get close enough, to take the stab at going through without maybe sacrificing the place. But it's still at the front, Dirk Müller, and it's looking as if Dirk Müller, with 0.5 of a second between them, may well have enough to do it now. He might just have enough to do it. Jörg Müller will certainly want that victory if he can get it, but Dirk Müller has looked very, very determined in this race. At first it looked like Jörg Müller might get away, but Dirk is not that far ahead of Jörg again, so there could at any moment now be a chance, and it could change. You could cover these two with a postage stamp. BMW from BMW. David Leslie was telling us yesterday in the warm-up, the one person you don't want to be beaten by is your teammate. These are 2 teammates, and they're on the very last lap. And so still it's Dirk Müller from Jörg Müller, David.
They're really pushing hard. You can see the cars locking the brakes going into the corners. They're braking late as they can. Just a little bit of loss of traction because they're pushing the cars right to the very limit. But here you can see Jörg Müller still stuck to that tail of his teammate Dirk Müller. And there's a couple of opportunities still to get past. One of them's coming up to the right hand in a second.
And there he is, and there's the look perhaps, and it's no go, not yet. Round the corner, round the right-hander there, and Dirk manages to accelerate and open that gap just a tiny little bit, but it's not enough to put Jörg Muller off from the opportunity of being able to clinch the win of the motor race yet, but he's got a lot to do. Last lap, closing second, Jörg Muller tucked right underneath Dirk Muller onto the rumble strip on that side, across the other side, through that plastic gate, and it's going to be Dirk Muller to take the flag. Muller from Muller. But it's not the one who won 4 times in the last 2 seasons. It's Dirk Muller and the BMW team. Delighted in the 1-2, I'm sure. And just behind them, then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Seats in the names Rydell, Tarquini, Jenné, Terting, and Thompson before Andy Frio. Rob Huff managed to get himself up to 9th place with the Chevrolet, and Tom Coronel, the first of the independents. Looking further down, where's the Alfa Romeos? Well, Morbidelli looks to be the first of those in 20th. The leading Chevrolet, of course, was Huff, and the Honda Accord of Cortals finishes in 16th place. Well, great race from 2 BMWs. Remember, they reversed the grid, and we're back. More excitement in just a second. Well, what a start, and we've got it to come again. And as David has just pointed out to me by looking at the first 8, when we get to the second race, they head now, of course, for Parc Fermé, but the cars can't be worked on. There's a little time when they are allowed to work on later before the second race, but we'll have an all-British front row because Andy Prio finished in 8th. He'll take pole position, and next to him will be James Thompson, who finished in 7th place. So a BMW and the Seat will have the start and the front row, and 2 British drivers will have it. There's the race winner, and he's delighted, isn't he? Absolutely delighted. The 2 of them, I think, I'm sure will get on very well together anyway, Jörg Muller and Dirk Muller.
Yes, they do. They always have done. They've been teammates for a long time with the Snitzer team, and yeah, that's a very happy Snitzer team. As you said, BMW didn't do very well in the last race, but in this race, first and second, there's not much more we can ask for that. And the next BMW finishing 8th, and that one will be on the front row, ready to make a good start for race 2. So BMW were looking for a win in the second race with Andy Prio.
No, tell me the truth. The 2 of them then are shaking hands, beaming smiles. Jörg Muller's saying, I hate you, isn't he, deep down? He's saying, I absolutely hate you. Isn't he?
No.
Oh, come on.
Their teammates have worked together for a long time.
And they
do get on very well.
I'm sure they except on the track. And he did him. So there we are, now into Parc Fermé. The congratulations coming in. What on earth happened to Alain Menu?
Alain Menu, I don't know, had a problem. He was running along with Robert Huff and Larini in 10th, 11th, 12th place, but just towards the end he dropped right down to 19th. But he was ahead of Morbidelli with the Alfa Romeo, and right behind Morbidelli was Augusto Farfus, so they finished 20th and 21st. That, I have to say, must be the worst result I have ever seen for a Works Alfa Romeo 156. Admittedly, they've not entered as Works cars this year, but they are the Works team that was there last year. They still have the same cars. They've got one of the same drivers, Augusto Farfus. To every intention, they're almost a Works team, and I have to say, they obviously feel they've got a lot of work to do at this track. They certainly didn't like it. We heard yesterday them saying that they're really struggling here, and certainly they are.
There's a British 7th, 8th and 9th, in fact. Robert Huff just finishing outside the top 8 with the Chevrolet. Ivan Muller, the championship leader, not a point scorer for him. He said he thought he would struggle. He's carrying the 65 kilos, of course, and finishing in 13th spot. Emmett O'Brien, a likeable gentleman from Dublin, finishes further back than that. So we've got a little while to wait. The cars stay in Parc Fermé, and then they reverse the front 8. That's a real balancing act, isn't it? We'll have an all-British front row, and we'll see the 2 Mullers, Jörg and Dirk Muller, starting on the 4th row of the grid. And so there'll only be one BMW, Andy Prio, up there, ahead of, in fact, five Seats.
That's right. On pole position will be Andy Prio. Then you've got Thompson a Seat, Turting in a Seat, Jeunet in a Seat, Taquini in a Seat, Rydell in a Seat. This is a quick 1 minute resume of the race that we've just seen, showing some of the highlights of the race. That was the start with the two BMWs managed to get away, and you can see the BMW sliding there around the corners, inside view from Dirk Muller's car. And there's a Chevrolet sandwich with the Seat of Ivan Muller stuck in the middle between those three Chevrolets.
If anything, that's probably what caused Ivan Muller not to be able to get really going at all, because, I mean, he's really, even with the 65 kilos, it made pretty hard work of that, the man who was second, or who was leading the championship after 2 second places in Monza.
But 65 kilos is a lot of weight, the way you look at it. But there you see one very happy man, Dirk Muller. He won that race, managed to overtake his teammate during it. A very happy team boss as well in Charlie Lamb.
Well, the drivers able to confer their thoughts and take a, well, not relaxation, but it's a great formula in a way where you know there's so short a time, both for spectators, drivers, competitors, before it actually fires into action again. It's not as if you've got this long gap in between the two heats.
No, you haven't. You've only got something like 15 minutes for them to work on the cars to get them back out. But before that, while they're in parc fermé, they will have the presentations to the drivers of the trophies for the first race. And the drivers will come out and get their trophies and their champagne. Looking at Dirk Muller's car there. Fantastic start from Muller. I mean, we said that Jörg Muller had made a great start, which he did, but you know, just as we were announcing how well he'd done at the start to get through the front row of the Seats, there was Dirk Muller coming right round the lot of them, and behind Jörg Muller for a BMW 1-2 that continued despite the battle between the two of them throughout the race. That's right. Dirk came from 6th through to 2nd by the time we got round the first corner, and that just shows you what an advantage the rear-wheel drive cars have off the start line.
Well, Rickard Rydell be happy to get onto the podium there. Jörg Muller and Dirk Muller, of course, the vice champion. And there he is. BMW a lot happier than they were in the tail end of the Monza meeting, David.
Yes, very much happier. You can see just how happy he is standing up there on top of that platform.
He's won here before, so he's notching up the victories. And I mean, if you were reading it and you didn't see the first names in front of them, there'd be that many Mullers around in the history of Magny-Cours of the last few seasons. But let's enjoy this.
Voilà pour l'hymne de l'Allemagne avec la victoire de Dirk Müller. Sous vos applaudissements, mesdames et messieurs, nous allons tout de suite accueillir Tom Coronel qui vient lui aussi.
David Leslie, looking at Dirk Müller on there, do you think we're going to be seeing a BMW driver top of the pile when he gets to the end of the second race?
I would think yes, and I'm not sure how well these BMW guys are going to get past the 5 Seats, the two we see standing on the podium, but don't forget that on the front row starting beside the Seat will be Andy Prio, and Andy will be looking for a very good start, get himself into the lead and just sit there and hope that the Seats will fight amongst themselves and keep the two works drivers behind. Also up on the podium there, obviously, you see Tom Cornell, He was the highest placed of the independent privateers.
Yeah, he didn't have a good meeting at Monza, did he?
I know he didn't. He had some damage there. He's still got the old Seat Toledo rather than new Seat Leon. And but second in that category was Luca Rangoni, who finished only 2 seconds behind him.
Andy Priaulx fans will be noting that you know, Andy's one of the first to say last year he won the championship, won it the season before. Last season only winning one race but winning the championship. He's won one race so far this season. He's going to start in pole position for this one. The absolute, you know, sort of dream come true to notch a victory here, wouldn't it? Particularly after that 140 mile an hour crash that happened in the second race.
That's right. He, like the rest of the BMWs, are coming to this circuit thinking they want to make up for what happened at the last race meeting, and he'll want to be trying to win that second race for sure. Certainly starting on the front row, the BMW on the front row, he'll very much be looking for that win.
Well, there's another man about 140 mile an hour shunt, same shunt to Dirk Muller. If it would be ironic if the two that had that shunt on either side of James Thompson's car actually won each of the two races here. One of them's already has. Who knows? It might be a prediction.
It's a very good prediction, I would say, at this moment.
45 kilos of weight, though, will have to be carried by Andy Priaulx, who will start in pole position. If you've just joined us, well, you missed a very good first race, and let me tell you about the starting grid in reverse order. And we'll run it backwards from the fourth row, because that gives us the winning order as well. Dirk Muller was the winner, BMW from BMW of Jörg Muller. And then it was Richard Rydell from Gabriel Tarquini, Seat, and then Genet and Terting, who will make up the second row. And the front row will be Andy Priaulx, finished 8th, and the 7th place man is James Thompson. Of course, that's another Seat. So we've got Seats all over the place, and a BMW on the front row, and a couple of BMWs lurking with great intent on row 4. It's going to be a very interesting race indeed, David.
Yes, it is, and the BMWs, we know they make very good starts. They'll probably get a couple of the Seats off the line, but can they get enough to get through towards trying to make inroads into Andy Priaulx? And as you've seen everybody going around, they really are pushing hard all the time. They do have very quick times indeed. So
well, we should be able to, David, I think we can get to the pit road now and hear from Dirk Muller.
Dirk Muller, Magny-Cours remains the property of a German BMW driver. Last year, Jörg Muller, this time yourself, a fantastic race out there.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm really happy. I mean, first of all, my mechanics worked till this midnight, till 1 o'clock, and thank you guys, Schnitzer. They did a really good and great job, helped me to get a really good car. I had the perfect start. I think it couldn't have been even a bit better, and I jumped in second place, and then my only thing was just to wait for a mistake of Jörg. This happened 3 laps before the end, and I got the possibility to pass him, and that's the whole story. I'm really happy.
And you climb up to second place. Overall, that's also a satisfaction in the championship.
That is a big satisfaction, but you know, I was leading 8 rounds last year, and I lost it in the final one. So you need to get points out of each race. I'm happy, but there's still a long way to go, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, he says he's happy. Wonder if he'll be happy or as happy after the second race. I'm looking at the championship points table, and we'll get up to date with that in a moment or two. And while we're waiting to get up to date with that, we can go back to that press conference and hear from Jörg Muller.
Jörg Muller starting 3rd on the grid, a fantastic start to the race, and then a hell of a battle with Dirk.
Yeah, it was very tough. I mean, I think we have to change something on our setup now, because my car started to oversteer after 2-3 laps. I tried to keep him behind me, but it was very tough, and then I misshifted once, couldn't find a gear, so he got by. It's important for the team, it's important for BMW that we have a 1 and 2, and I'm happy with 8 points. I haven't had any points till now.
We all know that you're good friends with Dirk. It probably makes it a lot tougher to have a battle with him on the circuit.
Not really, we're friends besides circuit, but on the circuit, when we've got our helmets on, it's a fight. Every one of us, both of us want to be world champion this year, so there's no friendship in racing.
Thanks a lot. Good luck for race 2.
Yes, he's just been listening to you. He just said there's no friendship in the actual racing. We're friends off the circuit, David. And David Leslie, I can tell you, is at this moment working feverishly with his plume. And
yes,
have you got sort of there's just 1 point difference between Dirk Muller and the championship leader, Johan Muller. But let's go to Ricard Riedel.
Ricard, you started second on the grid, finished third. A smart race for you and for Seat.
Well, I was really hoping that we would have a little bit more pace than the BMW, but they were very, very strong here. And Dirk made a perfect start, and in the race I tried to push as much as I could, and I was hoping they would have a little coming together or something, and I could take advantage, but it was never really enough. So it was close, but not close enough.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Ricard Riedel, always the gentleman, and he will start on the third row of the grid in P5, if you like, position 5. And a reminder, if you just joined us, Andy Prio will have pole position because a reversal. He finished in 8th place. James Thompson making it an all British front row. And the car's now brought out of Parc Fermé, David, and they go into the pit road. Some minor things are allowed to be adjusted now, aren't they?
Once the platform is finished, that's the time that you're not allowed to work on the cars. Once that's finished, the mechanics can do whatever they want to the cars to prepare them ready for the next race, and they only have a very short 15-minute gap on which to do all that work, and there'll be a buzzer will go, and everyone will know when to actually start work on it.
I was looking at the championship points there as they flashed up on the board. Johan Muller still with the lead of the championship. Dirk Muller now into second place with 15 points, and with the likes of Andy Prio, etc., failing to score. They're a little bit further down. Andy Prio and Augusto Farfus have to fall in line behind Gabriele Tarquini, who has 12. We'll take the shortest of breaks and be back with more of the action. Go nowhere.